Assalamualaikum and very good morning. I greet you all. So today I would like to present to you about brain and speech functions, and we're gonna focusing on broadcast and reading aphasia. So before that, if you're hearing any noises, I'm so sorry. So without wasting our time, let's go to this presentation. Right. So right now we'll go through about normal brain function first. Before having broadcast fascia. So broadcast area organize the motor commands for speech. It plans how words are articulated. So these motor plans are sent to the motor cortex, which control muscle of the lips, tongue, and jaw, and the rings. So basically, broadcast area is a place that having a motor commands, which is a motor commands we derivate of motor plans and motor cortex. So motor plan is the input. So when the motor plans giving output to the motor cortex, so motor cortex will control the muscle of the lips, tongue, jaw, and larynx. So when having the input from the motor plans, so it will give the output to the motor cortex to pronounce the speech production. Okay, so we already listened about the normal brain functions, which is when you're having a normal brain functions, the motor plans and motor cortex will having a good connections, which is the input from the motor plans that giving the output to the motor cortex. They will have having no problems. But when people having a broca aphasia, they having a problem to produce speech production. So before that, I will tell you the locations and role of the broca fascia. So broca's area is located in the left frontal lobe, mainly Broadman areas 44 and 45. It is responsible for planning and organizing speech movement, structuring grammar and sentencing order, converting thought into verbal expressions. Basically, these locations, Broca Afasa, is a place that planning on organizing speech movement. So when it's having problems, so the planning and the organizing of the words become more difficult and it's become more effortly. So right now, I will explain to you about effect on brain function. So disruption in language production network. So the brain struggles to coordinate between thinking and speaking. And motor planning impairment is having difficulty activating the correct sequence of movement of for speech even though the muscle are not paralyzed. So in Broca fascia, you need to understand two things, which is motor plans and motor cortex. When the motor cortex is having problems, so the muscle is still can be used. It's not paralyzed. It still can be used, but it's having a problem to use that muscles because the output from the motor plans it cannot be give properly to the motor cortex because of Broca areas damage. So the causes of this, it will become loss of synthetic grammar control. The frontal circuit that organize grammar are damaged, causing short and incomplete sentence. So overall, impact of the Broca aphasia is what is the overall impact of the brain that people having Broca aphasia? So the brain can still understand language but cannot effectively produce it. Motor, planning and language system lost synchronization. So if motor go to right, planning will go to straight and language system will go to the left. So it's not in the same way. So the causes of it, the cognitive load increase, making communication mentally exhausting. For example, you know that you want to describing about how good Pepsi is, but you can only say that Pepsi good. That's all. But in your mind, you want to say that Pepsi is good because it's delicious, it's having a sweet taste and everything. But because people having broca aphasia, this is the only thing that help you to talk, which is they can only say Pepsi good. That's all. So right now, let's go through to the Wernicke's aphasia. So Wernicke aphasia, the normal brain functions is Wernicke's area is a left posterior temporal lobe that works as the brain language comprehension center. The brain can recognize spoken words by analyzing sound patterns. So it links sounds to meaning, connecting what is heard to store vocabulary in the brain. So basically, Wernicke's area is a place that what is a place that we want to comprehend something. So this is a place that Wernicke's area took part. So when it's having problems, it will gonna affect that about what we will understand when people talking to us. Right. So I already explained to you about what is the differences between normal brain functions towards people that not having learning aphasia. So let's learn about people that having learning aphasia. So the locations and role. Wernicke's area is located in the posterior part of the left superior temporal gyrus in the temporal lobe. It is part of the brain language comprehension network. So the main function include processing and interpreting spoken and writing English language, linking sounds phonemes with their meaning semantics. So basically, the functions of the Wernicke's aphasia is a place that when you're having a comprehensions, so the process between understand and interpret the spoken word and written language, yeah, this is the Wernicke's place. We want to comprehend that things that we hear. So right now, what is the effect Wernicke's aphasia on brain functions? So basically, it will disruption in language comprehensions, which is the brain loses the ability to understand words, sentence, or meaning even though hearing is normal. For this one, people that having learning aphasia can hear about the conversations, but the problem is they can't understand what is the people talking about. So semantic processing failure is the brain can hear words but cannot attach correctly meaning to them. For example, they people that having aphasia, people around him talking about football, but when he listen to that conversations, he doesn't know about food. He knows about football, but because having only aphasia, he thinks that they're talking about golf. So out of nowhere, he will go to the place that's saying, "Are you talking about golf? I love golf and everything, and salad and everything." So that's people that having learning aphasia because they hear what the things that they talk, but they can't understand what is the thing that they are heard. So that is the effect on the brain functions, and it causes phonological confusions. The system that recognize speech sounds intact, but the interpretations of the words become more difficult, and they can understand the meaning of people speaking to him or her. So overall, the impact on the brains toward people that having learning aphasia, the brain produces fluent speech, but it fails to attach meaning to language input or output. Secondly, the language comprehension system, temporal lobe is severely damaged. Auditory, semantic, and working memory system lost integrations, and feedback monitoring of speech breakdowns. Patients are unaware their words are incorrect. So basically, broadcast aphasia is a things that they understand, but they can't speak the words. Wernicke's aphasia, you can fluently speak, but the brains cannot properly understand what is the thing that you hear. So the output of your production, speech productions, and your thinkings become more problems. So we're back to the second phase, which is speech functions. Last time we hear about brain functions, so this time we listen about speech functions.